Marvel Comics produced 12 different comics that hit the newsstands with a cover date of March 1964. This is a huge month for Stan Lee, creating some of the most important Marvel superheroes of the 1960s. Print runs are up a little bit, and people are now starting to save these titles as they're getting more and more popular. So we're starting to see a bit more availability of at least low to mid-grade copies that have been saved since the 60s. Let's dive in, starting with Amazing Spider-Man number 10. This was the 120th Marvel Silver Age superhero comic since they started up in 1961. This book features the first appearance of Big Man and the Enforcers. It's got a really interesting kind of a lime green background cover, which was quite a unique cover for Marvel to use. Looking at the census, we've got almost 1,900 copies graded by CGC in all grades. 29 9.6s or better, and over 400 sales at heritage auctions in the last 20 years. Comics at this time were 12-cent cover price. Let's use the Overstreet Annual Price Guide to see how the growth has been in all conditions over the years. You'll see I show the last 16 years in a row, and what's interesting to note is in low grades, it hasn't gone up anything in 16 years. Hard to believe. Copies keep selling. People want these in their collections, but not actually moving in the Overstreet Price Guide. But in high grade, you'll see over this time period, the book at least has jumped $1,000 in raw 9.2. Check out eBay sales and gpanalysis.com to find out what record-setting prices have been set for graded CGC super high grade copies to see where the market is at. Looking at the CGC census a little more closely, we'll see there are 9 9.8s and 29.6s. There are a bunch of the UK price variants have been graded, but the highest is only an 8.0, and there is a Mexican edition that came out 1 month later, only one copy graded at all in the census, grading a 5. Also out on the stands this month, the biggest book of the month, Avengers number 4. This is the first official Silver Age appearance of Captain America, and an iconic cover, one of the most famous ever published by Marvel. Also features the big gang of Iron Man, Thor, Giant Man, Wasp, and Submariner. This was actually, though, Captain America's second cover appearance from the Silver Age. Now, looking at a few more other things, this is the number 2 most valuable first appearance Marvel comic of the year. Print run was estimated at 200,000 copies, which is basically the case for all the titles we're looking at today. CGC census has gone crazy in the last few years, over 3,000 copies graded, including 29 9.6s or better. So you see there are a few out there. This is a tough one with this white creamy background cover. And of course, lots of Marvel comics at this time had Marvel chipping. That was very common, where the sides would get flaky and break away. Heritage has sold over 500 copies at this time. Using the Overstreet Price Guide, you can see the demand is definitely higher for this book. It has exactly doubled in the last 16 years, but in high grade has gone up 3.5 times. Lots of demand for the higher grade copies of key books like this. On the census, there's only 5 9.8s, 24 9.6s, 71 of the UK price variants graded, but the highest is a 9.2. And Avengers number 4 was also advertised in Sgt Fury and his Howling Commandos number 6. That was also on the newsstand this month. Next on our list is Fantastic Four number 24. This one has got a unique Jack Kirby cover, one of his classic monster type faces, and again, one of those white cream background covers. This one not as much of a key, so not as many copies graded overall, 500 overall, 19 9.6s or better, 103 sold at Heritage in the last 20 years. Using the Overstreet Price Guide, you can see this is a very affordable book in lower grades. It's only gone up $17 in 16 years in low grades. But again, in higher grades, it has more than tripled in raw prices. On the census, there are 4 9.8s, 15 9.6s, only 2 of the UK price variants, the highest being an 8.0. Also out this month, a minor key book, first appearances of Sif and Hela in Journey into Mystery 102. Dark blue background cover, Jack Kirby cover and art. Thor gains full use of his hammer's abilities. Print run estimated at 205,000 copies. On the CGC Sense, as you can see, it's steadily growing, starting to pick up steam. Over 500 copies graded. Only 4 9.6s or higher. This is a really tough one in super high grade. Heritage has sold 82. In the Overstreet Price Guide, we can see there's been a lot more movement for this book. Even in lowest grades, the book has more than tripled in this time frame, and in high grades has almost gone up 6 times. But it's partially because it's still such an affordable book in all conditions. 1 9.8 and 3 9.6s. There's only 3 of the UK price variants, the average being a 5.5. There are no high grade copies at all have been graded of this book. Sgt Fury and his Howling Commandos number 6 features the 6th appearance of Sgt Fury. Jack Kirby cover art. And this issue does have that full page ad for Avengers number 4. Very few copies on the census for this one, surprisingly, only 100 in all conditions. 3 9.6s or better, extremely hard to find. Bright red background cover. Heritage has only sold 32, so it's low on all our charts. And in Overstreet, very little movement and super affordable in all grades. Almost no movement at all in the last 16 years in lower grades. High grades, it's just a little more than doubled. On the census, there are 3 9.6s and 4 9.4s, no 9.8s at all. There's only one of the UK price variants graded adult, and it's a 9.2. Strange Tales 118 has the Human Torch battling the Wizard, and Doctor Strange makes his first cover appearance. Let's check it out. It's way at the bottom. So we've got a Fantastic Four Human Torch action cover and Doctor Strange at the bottom. And a white creamy background cover, making this one a tough one again. Jack Kirby did the cover art. Steve Ditko and Dick Ayers did the interior art. Again, very few copies on the census, 179 in all grades, 7 9.6s or better, only 42 at Heritage. Overstreet Price Guide, again, very little movement. This is another very affordable book. Little movement in lower grades, but it has tripled in highest grades raw. On the census, there is 1 9.8 and 6 9.6s, only one of the UK price variant grading a 6.0. Tales of Suspense 51 is the first appearance of the Scarecrow, one of the major villains that was created at this time. Print run estimated at 207,000 copies. On the census, it's starting to pick up steam, but still only 331 copies graded with 7 9.6s or better. Heritage has sold 79. So this is picking up steam. It's starting to move. Classic cover again with Iron Man. In Overstreet Price Guide, though, it's still another affordable key. And it has doubled in lowest grades, and it has tripled in highest grades. There are no 9.8s, but there's 7 9.6s, and the highest UK price variant is an 8.5. Tales to Astonish 53 features the giant man on the cover. It's also the origin of the porcupine cover by Jack Kirby. Yellow background cover, standing out, bold on the newsstands. Again, on the CGC census, very few copies graded, only 183, with 10 9.6s or better, and only 41 at Heritage in 20 years. Overstreet, again, very low prices for the low grades and not that much movement, only doubling in the last 16 years. And the book has almost gone up triple in high grade raw. There are 5 9.8s and 5 9.6s. Only one of the UK price variants graded a 7. And another major key book for this month, X-Men number 4, classic cover again. And this book features the first appearance of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, who, teaming up with Mastermind, they joined Magneto to form the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. This is a classic Jack Kirby cover. It's the 4th most valuable first appearance Marvel comic of the year. Again, print run estimated at 200,000 copies. Scarlet Witch has become very popular since she had her own TV show, WandaVision. On the census, it's gone crazy as well. Now over 2,000 copies graded, but only 11 9.6s or better. 311 sold at Heritage. That's picking up steam for sure. Overstreet definitely moving up in all grades. The book has tripled in lowest grades and in highest grades has gone crazy, and it's almost 5 times gone up in value. On the census, there are only 2 9.8s, 9.6s, and the UK price variant, there are 40 of them graded, and yet the highest is an 8.0. So that's hard to believe. Let's compare these books now on the CGC census. Which are the most common ones, which are the easiest to find, and which ones are definitely the most popular? Well, unfortunately, you can't judge these books for scarcity based on their CGC census. Simply put, the bigger the book is from a historical point of view, the more people want to own it, the more copies graded. So it makes it look like these books are more common, but just the simple fact is some books are just higher demand than others. The book with the most copies by far graded, Avengers #4. There are 3,300 copies. After that, we have X-Men #4 with 2,000 and Amazing Spider-Man 10 with 1,800. But after that, the numbers drastically drop, as low as only 100 for Sgt Fury #6. Looking at the highest graded copies, you'll see there are still some of these books that don't even have a 9.8 at all. If we look for what's the most common 9.6 or higher, it is actually Amazing Spider-Man #10, being the most popular collected Marvel title of them all. So a lot of people want this book, regardless of whether it's a key or not. Again, Sgt Fury and Tales of Suspense 51 don't have 9.8, so 9.6 is the best to offer. And I threw on Two Gun Kid 68 here. This is a Western title, just to show you how superhero books are so highly collected compared to Western and teen books. There's only 12 copies graded at all. There's one 9.6 and a few other high ones, but still very few copies graded. There's not a lot of price growth in Westerns. Therefore, most people don't spend the money to get those graded. There you go. March 1964 for Marvel Comics. 12 titles, 9 of them superhero we featured today. Please subscribe to this channel. We do this every week. And I'd like to thank you for watching.